a military man feels somehow privileged. Here's the kind of honor and respect our flag deserves. Here, well symbolized, is the devotion of his own life to the service of his country. Because of the deep importance of retreat, the writers of your screen magazine have searched history for the origin of the ceremony and uncovered its roots deep in the past. During the Crusades of the 11th to 13th centuries, as the sun began to set, the G.I. Joe of that vanished army listened for those musical notes which he knew as retraite, or the evening ceremony. It was a signal to return to camp, to cease the activities of the day. It was the time for setting the watch and putting out the campfires. Even the bugle call now used was first sounded then and has come down to us through 900 years. The sounding of retreat through the British Army had its origin as far back as the 16th century. Then it was called the watch setting, and the watch was called by drumbeat. In those days, the terms retreat and tattoo were one and the same. The ceremony, as quoted in 1727, was this: half an hour before the gates are to be shut, it is generally at the set of the sun, drummers of the port guards are to go on the ramparts and beat a retreat, to give notice to those without that the gates are to be shut. As soon as the drummers have finished the retreat, which they should do in less than a quarter of an hour, the officers must order the barriers and gates to be shut. In the general orders of the Duke of Cumberland, a distinction is made between the two ceremonies. Retreat, he said, is to be beat at sunset, whereas tattoo is to be beat at 8, 9, or 10 o'clock at night. And what of tattoo? Now here we have something colorful from the 17th century campaign of King William III in the Low Countries. In those days, all active operations ceased in the late autumn, and the rival forces went to billet in towns and villages surrounding the battlefields. The inns were the social centers of the day and were busy enough in the evenings. The only way to clear the inns was to stop the flow of ale. This was done between 9:30 and 10 p.m., when a drummer marched through the billeting area beating a call. Upon hearing it, the Dutch innkeepers remarked, "Doden tapto," and turned off their taps. The word tapto was used officially for some time, but finally gave place to the familiar tattoo. Getting on to our own country, it may be said that our military ceremony is derived largely from the 17th century British Army. In colonial days, a fife and drum corps would march through the streets of a camp or garrison playing loudly. Each soldier was required to, quote,
repair to his tent or quarters and remain therein.
Quoting the regulations of Baron von Steuben,
the retreat is beat at sunset for calling the roll, warning the men for duty, and reading the orders of the day.
We do not know for certain when the flag became the center of the ceremony. Marine orders from 1805 tell the sergeant of the guard to have the halyards manned that the flag may be, in due time, attended to at retreat beating. And so the ceremony grew in dignity and interest, with the various branches of the service leaving their marks. Currently, at every Army installation garrisoned by troops, and with either bugler, field music, or band, retreat is first played, then there is the call to attention and the hand salute. The lowering of the flag is begun on the first note of the national anthem, or to the color, and is governed so as to be completed at the last note of the music. Navy regulations state that this ceremonial lowering of the national ensign at sunset shall be known as evening colors, and that no ceremony shall take place when a ship is underway, for as long as there is daylight, a ship's identification must be visible. The Marines, so colorful through the years, began about 1870 to put emphasis on the retreat ceremony, elaborating it at Marine Headquarters, Washington, to the once-a-week Sunset Parade. Here, crack exhibition troops embellish the ceremony with unique drills, but the heart of it all is the flag. We hope the military of every branch and rank will take renewed pride each day in a tradition so deeply rooted. In it, as Admiral Jewett once said, we honor the emblem not only of national authority at home, but of liberty and progress throughout the world.
And thus with retreat ends the soldier's day. This is Sergeant Stuart Queen inviting you to be with us next week for another look at the big picture, the United States Army in action.
The Big Picture is a weekly television report to the nation on the activities of the Army at home and overseas. Produced by the Signal Corps Pictorial Center. Presented by the U.S. Army in cooperation with this station. You can be an important part of the big picture. You can proudly serve with the best equipped, the best trained, the best fighting team in the world today, the United States Army.